Ladies and gentlemen, there will come a time in your life when someone will doubt you, belittle you, or outright dismiss you. Maybe it's a colleague who never values your ideas. Maybe it's a friend who mocks your dreams. Or maybe it's someone who looks at you and thinks you don't matter. Let me tell you this, you do matter. And how you respond to those who don't respect you will define not just your reputation, but your strength, your discipline, and your future. Respect is not given freely. It is earned through the way you carry yourself, the boundaries you enforce, and the values you refuse to compromise. If you want respect, you must first respect yourself enough to demand it, not through arrogance, not through shouting, but through unwavering self-discipline. I'll share with you 5 powerful ways to handle people who don't respect you. These lessons are not theory. They are forged through hardship, through battles of will, and through moments when silence spoke louder than words. Stay with me until the end, because one of these lessons may just be the turning point in your life, the difference between being ignored and being remembered. Respect begins with you. Before the world acknowledges your voice, before others recognize your presence, you must first decide what you stand for. Too many people move through life searching for validation from the outside, waiting for approval from peers, supervisors, or strangers. But the truth is this: if you do not believe in your own worth, if you do not walk into the world with the discipline and dignity of someone who respects themselves, no one else will. Carrying respect for yourself is not arrogance. It is not pride. It is a quiet confidence rooted in values, built on daily habits and forged by enduring hardship. It means you rise each morning and make choices that affirm your character. It means you demand excellence from yourself before you ever expect it from others. It means you live in such a way that even when the world turns against you, you do not crumble, because you know your worth is not determined by applause or recognition. Respect begins with the smallest of actions: how you present yourself, how you carry your body, how you speak, and how you work. The man or woman who cannot respect themselves in private cannot expect respect in public. The respect you carry into every room comes from the choices you make when no one is watching. Do you keep your word? Do you finish the task you promised yourself you would complete? Do you live with integrity when shortcuts are easier? These are not small matters. They are the foundation of how the world will see you. The reality is simple. People will test you. They will push against your boundaries. They will attempt to see what you will tolerate. And if you have not built a foundation of self-respect, you will bend under pressure. You will allow others to treat you as they please. But when you respect yourself deeply, consistently, without compromise, you send a message without speaking a word. You show people that you will not be disregarded, that you will not be diminished, that your life has a weight to it. Think about the men and women who command a room without ever raising their voice. They do not do so because of their position or their title alone. They do so because they carry a respect for themselves that cannot be ignored. They move with discipline, they speak with conviction, and they act with a consistency that leaves no doubt about their character. Respect, once built within, radiates outward and demands acknowledgement from others. But make no mistake, self-respect is not built overnight. It comes from a lifetime of choices. It is developed in hardship, when you choose to stand tall instead of shrinking away. It grows in moments of failure, when you refuse to let defeat define your value. It strengthens every time you choose principle over comfort. And it becomes unshakable when you know, without hesitation, that your worth does not rise or fall with the opinions of others. This kind of respect is not loud. It is not boastful. It does not need to shout to be heard. It is steady. It is resilient. It is the kind of respect that people sense in your silence, the kind that speaks before you utter a word. And when you carry it within you, others have no choice but to recognize it. Every great leader, every person who has stood against disrespect and walked away stronger, has known this truth. Respect begins within. If you wait for the world to give it to you, you will wait forever. If you allow others to define your worth, you will forever be at their mercy. But if you decide right here, right now, that you will live with discipline, with dignity, with self-respect, then no insult, no dismissal, no disregard can strip that away from you. This is why the journey of respect begins each day with yourself. It begins with the way you rise from your bed, the way you set your standards, the way you carry yourself into the world. It begins with refusing to compromise your principles, even when no one is watching. It begins with treating yourself as though your life has value, as though your time matters, as though your future depends on the choices you make in this very moment. People will follow your lead. If they see that you do not respect yourself, they will not respect you either. If they see that you carry yourself with dignity, they will be forced to recognize it, even if they never speak it aloud. Respect is contagious, but it must begin with you. And when it does, you will find that the world begins to treat you differently, not because you demanded it, but because you lived it. When you live with self-respect, the world notices. When you stand tall in the face of adversity, when you keep your word in the face of temptation, when you refuse to compromise your integrity for the sake of comfort or convenience, people will see. And even those who doubt you, even those who dismiss you, will be forced to reckon with the strength of your character. Respect is not a gift you are handed. It is a fortress you build brick by brick, day after day, through discipline, perseverance, and unshakable self-belief. And once you build it, no one can take it away. So carry yourself with respect. Live each day as though your actions matter, as though your character matters, as though your life has meaning, because it does. And the moment you embrace that truth, the world will see you differently. Not because you asked for it, not because you demanded it, but because you lived it. Set boundaries firmly. The moment you allow someone to overstep your line without consequence, you send a signal that your values, your time, and your dignity can be disregarded. Boundaries are not walls meant to shut the world out. They are lines drawn with clarity and discipline to ensure that others understand where your respect begins and where it must never be crossed. The truth is simple. People treat you in accordance with what you permit. If you accept disrespect, it will continue. If you remain silent when you are demeaned, it will become the norm. But if you stand with quiet strength, if you make clear that you will not tolerate behavior that undermines your worth, people will learn that your respect is not negotiable. Boundaries are not built in words alone. They are lived through consistent action. When you say you will not accept a certain kind of treatment, you must follow through. If you warn but never act, your words become empty. Boundaries require discipline. They demand that you place value on your own time, your own energy, and your own principles above the fleeting approval of others. Too many people sacrifice their boundaries to avoid conflict, but avoidance does not remove disrespect, it multiplies it. The strength to draw the line and to hold that line under pressure is the strength that defines your self-respect. Firm boundaries are not about aggression, they are about clarity. They let others know who you are and what you will stand for. A soldier on the battlefield knows the importance of clear lines. Without boundaries, chaos reigns. Without discipline, the mission collapses. In life, your boundaries are your mission. They keep order where others would bring disorder. They protect your energy where others would drain it. They preserve your dignity where others would erode it. And just like a mission, boundaries require vigilance. They cannot be declared once and forgotten. They must be maintained daily, reinforced in every interaction, demonstrated through every choice. Some will test your boundaries deliberately. They will push against them, not because they misunderstand, but because they want to see if you truly mean what you say. In these moments, your response matters more than your words. If you retreat, if you bend to pressure, you lose not just the boundary but the respect that comes with it. If you stand firm, if you hold the line without wavering, you send a message that will echo beyond that single moment. The message is this: you cannot be diminished, you cannot be moved, you cannot be treated as less than you deserve. Boundaries also protect you from yourself. They are reminders that your time and your dignity are not infinite resources to be spent carelessly. By setting boundaries, you declare that you will not engage in every fight. You will not entertain every insult. You will not carry every burden that is handed to you. Instead, you reserve your energy for what matters most: your goals, your values, your growth. Without boundaries, you become scattered, distracted, drained. With them, you remain focused, disciplined, strong. There will be moments when setting boundaries costs you something. You may lose relationships that cannot survive the weight of your self-respect. You may face criticism from those who are uncomfortable with your strength. But consider the alternative. Without boundaries, you may keep the peace for a moment, but in the long run you lose yourself. You become someone molded by the expectations of others, instead of the principles you have chosen. And no short-term comfort is worth that long-term cost. The individuals who command true respect in this world are not those who give in to every demand or bend under every pressure. They are those who hold firm, who know their lines and defend them with quiet conviction. They are the ones who can say no without guilt, who can walk away without fear, who can stand their ground without apology. Their strength is not in their defiance, but in their discipline. Their power comes from consistency.
Over time, people learn that their respect cannot be bought, cannot be borrowed, cannot be taken. It must be earned. To set boundaries firmly is not to isolate yourself, but to ensure that every connection you maintain is rooted in mutual respect. When others know your boundaries, they know how to engage with you. They know what is acceptable and what is not. And in that clarity, relationships strengthen. Boundaries do not push people away. They invite the right people in. They filter out those who do not value you, leaving space for those who do. The discipline of boundaries extends beyond personal relationships. It applies to your work, your ambitions, your purpose. If you allow distractions to invade, if you allow lesser priorities to consume your energy, you compromise the mission of your life. Boundaries are not only about people, they are about choices. Choosing where to focus your time, choosing what to ignore, choosing which battles to fight. All of this requires the same firm discipline. The more you
practice it, the more respect you build for yourself, and the more respect the world will reflect back to you. There is a strength in being immovable when it matters most. It does not require anger. It does not require raised voices or dramatic gestures. It requires a calm, steady presence that says without words, "This is my line. I will not step back." That presence commands attention. It commands respect. And in time, it reshapes the way people treat you. To live without boundaries is to invite chaos. To live with firm boundaries is to command order. The choice is always yours. Respect begins when you decide what you will and will not allow into your life. And it strengthens every time you hold that line. In the end, boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about leading yourself. They are about choosing discipline over disorder, dignity over disrespect, strength over surrender. Hold your boundaries and you hold your respect. Lose them and you lose both. If respect is to be part of your life, boundaries must be the guardrails that protect it. Not walls to isolate you, not weapons to harm others, but lines of discipline drawn with clarity and lived with consistency. Draw those lines, stand by them, defend them, because when you do, you will no longer have to demand respect. You will embody it, and the world will have no choice but to see it. Respond with discipline, not emotion. The strength of a person is not revealed in the ease of comfort, but in the pressure of conflict. Anyone can remain calm when life is smooth, when voices are kind, and when the path ahead is clear. But when disrespect strikes, when tempers rise, when anger pushes against your chest, that is when your true character is revealed. Those who live by emotion alone lash out, lose control, and surrender their dignity in the heat of the moment. Those who live by discipline hold steady, remain unmoved, and turn the chaos of conflict into an arena where respect is earned. Discipline is the art of mastery over self. It does not mean you feel no anger, no frustration, no sting of insult. It means you refuse to let those feelings dictate your response. You feel the fire within, but you do not allow it to consume you. Instead, you harness it, you direct it, you turn it into strength. The world respects power under control, not fury unleashed. A disciplined response cuts deeper than an emotional outburst because it shows that you are in command, not only of the situation but of yourself. When you respond with discipline, you maintain clarity. You see the field of battle as it truly is, not clouded by rage or ego. You understand that every word, every action carries weight, and you choose carefully. You know that anger may satisfy you for a moment, but discipline will carry you further. Emotional reactions invite regret. Disciplined responses leave no doubt. In silence, in measured words, in steady actions, you show strength far greater than shouting could ever achieve. The disciplined individual is not provoked into foolish battles. He chooses his ground. He knows that not every insult deserves a reply. Not every challenge deserves engagement. Discipline grants patience, and patience grants power. The man who cannot control his anger becomes a puppet, pulled by strings of provocation. The disciplined man cannot be manipulated. He stands firm, unshaken, untouchable. His composure disarms those who seek to rattle him. His silence speaks louder than fury. His restraint commands more respect than his rage ever could. History remembers not the ones who lost themselves in anger, but the ones who held steady when storms raged. Great leaders, warriors, and builders of nations all carried this trait, the ability to remain disciplined under fire. They faced insult, betrayal, and disrespect, yet their responses were measured, calculated, and unshakable. They did not act to satisfy their emotions in the moment. They acted to achieve victory in the long run. Their discipline became their armor, their shield against the chaos of conflict. To respond with discipline is not to appear weak. It is the opposite. It is to show that you cannot be baited into losing your composure. Anyone can explode when provoked. Only the strong can remain calm. Anyone can shout. Only the strong can speak with measured conviction. Anyone can strike in anger. Only the strong can wait, plan, and act with precision. Discipline is not the absence of feeling. It is the control of it. Every day, life will test your composure. Someone will mock you, dismiss you, or attempt to draw you into their storm. The undisciplined fall into the trap, dragged into battles that diminish their respect. The disciplined rise above it, standing so firm that their presence alone settles the chaos around them. In the workplace, in the family, in the community, the one who responds with discipline becomes the anchor others look to when storms rage. This strength is not built overnight. It is forged in small choices, practiced in daily life. It begins in the moments no one notices, when you hold your tongue instead of speaking rashly, when you finish the task instead of quitting in frustration, when you rise from failure without letting despair define you. Each moment of control builds another layer of discipline, another brick in the fortress of your character. Over time, this fortress grows strong enough that no insult, no provocation, no disrespect can tear it down. Responding with discipline also earns a different kind of respect. It may not come immediately. In fact, at first some may mistake your composure for weakness, but in time they will see the truth. They will see that your restraint is not fear but strength. They will see that your silence is not surrender but strategy. They will see that your calm is not passivity but mastery. And when they realize that, their respect will come, not because you demanded it, but because you demonstrated it. Discipline gives you control not only over your actions, but over outcomes. When others lose themselves to anger, they make mistakes, they burn bridges, they create enemies where none were needed, they trap themselves in cycles of conflict. But the disciplined individual remains in control, avoids unnecessary damage, and maintains the power to choose his battles wisely. In the long run, discipline always triumphs over chaos. There is an undeniable dignity in composure. A man or woman who can face insult without being shaken commands attention. Their presence unsettles aggressors, because disrespect feeds on reaction. When you do not give it what it seeks, it loses its power. And in that moment, you take control. The one who disrespected you may not admit it, but deep inside they recognize your strength. They recognize that you will not be swayed, that you cannot be diminished, that your respect cannot be stolen by their words. To live with this kind of discipline requires daily commitment. It means mastering your impulses, restraining your ego, and placing principle above pride. It means knowing that the long-term victory of respect is worth more than the short-term satisfaction of retaliation. It means holding steady even when your heart pounds, even when anger surges, even when every part of you wants to strike back. In that moment, the choice you make defines you. Choose discipline, and you rise above. Choose emotion, and you lower yourself to the level of those who disrespect you. Discipline is strength. Discipline is clarity. Discipline is respect. When you respond with it, you show the world that you are not controlled by circumstance, not shaken by insult, not ruled by passion. You show that you are in command. And those who witness it, even those who once disrespected you, will see a strength they cannot deny. So stand firm, hold steady. Let your discipline speak louder than your anger. Because in the end, the true measure of respect is not in how loudly you respond, but in how firmly you remain unshaken. Lead by example. Respect is never secured through demands, never sustained through force, and never made permanent by words alone. It is earned through the quiet power of consistent action. People follow what they see, not what they are told. They measure you not by your speeches, but by your conduct, not by your intentions, but by your habits. Every day, whether you realize it or not, you are teaching others how to treat you by the way you live. If you cut corners, if you compromise your integrity, if you say one thing and do another, then you send a message that your character cannot be trusted.
But if you live with discipline, if you carry yourself with honesty, if you embody the standards you expect from others, then you command respect without ever having to demand it. To lead by example is to take the harder path. It is to rise when others remain seated, to stand firm when others falter, to stay true when others drift into compromise. People notice consistency more than charisma. They notice endurance more than enthusiasm. They notice the individual who does not waver when pressure rises, who does not retreat when obstacles appear, who does not abandon principle for convenience. This consistency is the foundation of respect. It builds slowly, almost invisibly at times, but once it takes root it cannot easily be broken. When you lead by example, your presence alone inspires change. You do not need to lecture. You do not need to demand. Your actions carry their own weight, and they create a standard for others to follow. In the home, in the workplace, in the community, the one who leads by example is the one who holds the power to shape culture. People are drawn not to the loudest voice but to the clearest model. And the clearest model is the person who lives what they believe. It is easy to speak of respect, to declare what you expect from others. But the measure of your character is revealed in how you live when the spotlight is gone. Do you carry yourself with the same integrity in private that you demand in public? Do you maintain the same discipline in small tasks that you celebrate in great victories? Do you treat those with less power with the same dignity you offer those with more? The answers are not written in your words. They are written in your actions. And it is through those actions that people will decide whether or not you deserve their respect. The true leader does not hide behind authority. They do not rely on fear to secure obedience. They lead through the power of example. When they ask for commitment, it is because they themselves have committed. When they ask for discipline, it is because they themselves are disciplined. When they ask for integrity, it is because they themselves have refused compromise. This alignment between word and deed creates trust, and trust is the foundation of all respect. Without trust, respect cannot last. With it, respect grows naturally without force. Leading by example also means carrying responsibility when it would be easier to shift blame. It means admitting mistakes, standing accountable, and refusing to hide behind excuses. People respect the one who owns their failures and learns from them far more than the one who denies them. Strength is revealed not in pretending to be flawless but in showing resilience when flaws are exposed. Those who follow you will forgive mistakes, but they will not forgive hypocrisy. They will respect your humanity if it is paired with honesty. They will dismiss your leadership if it is paired with deception.
There is a quiet strength in those who consistently practice what they preach. They do not need to raise their voice to prove their point. They do not need to fight for respect because they embody it. Their example becomes a guide for others. And when challenges arise, when disrespect threatens, when confusion spreads, people look to them as a reference point. Their discipline is the compass. Their integrity is the map. Their example is the anchor. But leading by example is not only about inspiring others. It is also about guarding your own dignity. Each time you act in alignment with your values, you reinforce your own self-respect. Each time you follow through on a promise, you strengthen your own credibility. Each time you refuse to compromise, you fortify your own integrity. In this way, leading by example becomes not just a gift to others, but a shield for yourself. It protects you from hypocrisy, from weakness, from erosion of character. It ensures that when others look at you, they see someone who does not simply speak of respect but lives it. It is important to remember that respect is not built in grand moments alone. It is built in the ordinary, the daily, the unseen, the way you handle small tasks, the way you treat those who cannot offer you anything, the way you maintain discipline when no one is watching. These are the true measures of your example. A single speech may inspire for a day, but a consistent example inspires for a lifetime. The people who watch you, whether they are your family, your colleagues, or your community, are learning not from what you say but from what you do. If you want their respect, give them something real to follow. Leading by example requires sacrifice. It demands that you place principle above comfort, responsibility above ease, and truth above popularity. It means you may walk alone at times, because not everyone will have the strength to live as you live. But respect does not come from blending in. It comes from standing apart. And when you stand apart for the right reasons, you light a path for others to follow. They may not acknowledge it immediately, but in time they will remember. And in that remembrance, respect is born. To lead by example is to carry yourself with the awareness that every action teaches, every decision influences, every step sets a precedent. You cannot escape this reality. Whether you rise to the standard or fall below it, others will take note. And the respect you command tomorrow is determined by the choices you make today. So live as though your life is a model, because it is. Lead not with words but with conduct. Stand not on what you demand, but on what you demonstrate. Walk with integrity, work with discipline, act with honor. In doing so, you will never need to ask for respect. It will follow you, quietly, consistently, unshakably, because the one who leads by example commands respect, without ever speaking a word. Choose your battles wisely. Not every challenge deserves your energy. Not every insult deserves your response. And not every confrontation deserves your presence. Respect is not measured by how many fights you win, but by the wisdom you show in deciding which fights are worth your time. The individual who reacts to every slight, who answers every criticism, who engages in every conflict, spreads themselves thin, and reveals a lack of control. The individual who reserves their strength, who chooses with discipline when to stand and when to walk away, earns respect through clarity of purpose. Life will constantly present opportunities for conflict. People will doubt you, insult you, challenge you, and provoke you. If you respond to all of it, you waste your energy on battles that add no value to your life. The strongest people are not those who swing at every attack, but those who understand the difference between a distraction and a true threat. Distractions are countless, but threats are rare. Distractions fade on their own. Threats must be faced. The disciplined person knows the difference. They hold their ground when it matters and remain unmoved when it does not. This selective strength defines respect. Every battle you fight takes something from you: time, energy, focus, sometimes even relationships. To fight indiscriminately is to exhaust yourself. To fight deliberately is to ensure that every struggle has meaning. When you choose your battles wisely, you guard your strength for what truly matters. You do not burn your energy proving yourself to those who do not matter. You conserve it for the moments where respect, dignity, or principle are truly at stake. That is the mark of discipline. That is the path to lasting respect. The world often confuses noise with power. People will shout, argue, and try to pull you into their storms, believing that victory lies in dragging you down. But true power is revealed in silence, in refusal, in restraint. To ignore an insult is not weakness, it is wisdom. To walk away from meaningless conflict is not surrender, it is mastery. Only the insecure believe they must win every battle. The secure know that some battles are beneath them, not because they are afraid to fight, but because they know their time is too valuable to waste. History shows this lesson again and again. The greatest leaders, the most respected figures, did not engage in every conflict thrown their way. They focused their strength where it mattered most. They chose their battles with clarity, conserving energy for the fights that would define them. Their restraint was as powerful as their action. It is in this balance, knowing when to strike and when to remain still, that respect is born. Choosing your battles wisely also means understanding the cost of each decision. Even when you win, a battle takes something from you. It may damage relationships. It may drain resources. It may slow your progress toward your larger goal. Winning a small conflict can sometimes mean losing the larger war, but walking away from a small conflict can sometimes mean saving your strength for a greater victory. The wise do not measure success by immediate satisfaction. They measure it by long-term impact. This discipline demands self-control. It requires that you master your pride, because pride is often the spark that pulls people into meaningless fights. Pride whispers that every insult must be answered, every challenge confronted, every slight avenged, but pride leads only to exhaustion. Discipline tells you otherwise. Discipline reminds you that silence can be stronger than words, that walking away can be a demonstration of power, that not every voice deserves your reply. The one who resists the pull of pride and instead follows principle is the one who commands respect. There will be times when the battle is unavoidable.
Times when silence is not an option, when walking away would mean surrendering your dignity or compromising your principles. In those moments, you must fight with everything you have. When the cause is right, when the stakes are high, when respect demands it, there can be no hesitation. But because you have not wasted your strength on trivial battles, you will have the energy, the clarity, and the resolve to win. That is why choosing your battles wisely is not just about restraint, but about readiness. By ignoring the meaningless, you prepare for the meaningful. Respect is never given to the one who fights recklessly. It is given to the one who shows clarity of purpose, the one who can stand calm in the face of provocation, who can resist the temptation to waste their strength, who can focus only on what truly matters. That person commands respect. Their presence alone communicates that they cannot be distracted, they cannot be manipulated, and they cannot be diminished by petty conflict. Choosing your battles wisely also shapes the way people approach you. When they see that you do not respond to every insult, they stop wasting their efforts. When they see that you do not engage in pointless conflict, they recognize that your time and energy are too valuable. And when they see that, when you do choose to fight, you fight with conviction and strength, they know that your battles are never in vain. This reputation becomes its own form of respect. People know that your silence is not weakness, it is control. And they know that your action is not impulsive, it is deliberate. Every day offers countless chances to waste your strength. Every day offers countless provocations, distractions, and conflicts. To answer them all is to dilute yourself. To answer wisely is to preserve your strength and sharpen your focus. Over time, this discipline builds a life of greater respect, greater clarity, and greater purpose. So conserve your strength. Do not be baited into every fight. Do not let pride drag you into meaningless conflict. Know your mission. Know your values. Know the line between what matters and what does not. Stand firm when the battle is worthy, and remain unmoved when it is not. In doing so, you will live with a strength that commands respect, not because you fought often, but because you fought wisely. Remove toxicity. The people you allow into your life shape the quality of your days, the direction of your path, and the strength of your character. Not everyone who stands beside you is for you. Some will drain your energy, diminish your spirit, and chip away at your dignity with subtle words or quiet actions. Some will mock your ambitions, discourage your progress, and remind you of your failures rather than your potential. These people may wear the face of a friend, a colleague, or even family, but their presence brings weight rather than strength. If you do not remove them, if you allow their influence to remain unchecked, they will slowly erode your respect for yourself. Removing toxicity is not cruelty, it is discipline. It is the recognition that your life is too valuable to be poisoned by negativity, manipulation, or disrespect. Toxicity can be loud, but often it is quiet. It shows itself in constant criticism, in subtle dismissal, in a refusal to celebrate your victories or encourage your growth. It hides behind sarcasm, behind excuses, behind claims of honesty, when in truth it is simply disrespect. If you accept this treatment, it will become your normal. If you allow it, it will shape how others view you, and worse, how you view yourself. But when you draw the line, when you decide that your circle will only be filled with those who uplift, challenge, and respect you, you reclaim control. You make a statement about the kind of life you will live. Removing toxicity takes courage, because it often requires letting go of people you have known for years. It may mean distancing yourself from those you once trusted. It may mean walking away from environments that are familiar. But growth demands sacrifice. Respect demands protection. A soldier does not enter battle carrying dead weight. A leader does not allow poison into their command. In the same way, you cannot carry the burden of toxic relationships if you hope to stand strong and earn respect. When you begin to remove toxicity, something changes. Your mind becomes clearer, your energy becomes stronger, and your focus sharpens. You find that the weight you carried was heavier than you realized. You see that much of your frustration did not come from the challenges of life, but from the people who stood beside you with no intention of supporting you. Once you release them, you create space for those who truly belong, for those whose presence strengthens rather than weakens, whose words build rather than break. Respect grows in an environment of encouragement and honesty, not in a climate of mockery and deceit. This discipline does not mean surrounding yourself with people who only flatter you. That is not respect. True respect comes from those who are willing to challenge you, but challenge you with integrity, with care, with the desire to see you grow. There is a difference between criticism
that corrects and criticism that crushes. The first is constructive. The second is toxic. Learn the difference and act on it. Hold close the people who correct you with truth and release the ones who belittle you with disdain. Removing toxicity also means guarding your own habits, because sometimes the poison is not outside but within. Self-doubt, laziness, procrastination, or negative self-talk can become as toxic as any person. If you wish to live with respect, you must cleanse yourself of these habits with the same discipline you use to cleanse your circle of harmful people. The environment you live in and the thoughts you carry within are both either building your respect or breaking it. Respect is contagious, but so is disrespect. Keep company with the bitter, and bitterness will find its way into your speech. Keep company with the dishonest, and dishonesty will creep into your actions. Keep company with the lazy, and soon their lack of discipline will infect your own. But keep company with those who honor their word, who rise each day with purpose, who live with dignity, and their example will raise your standard. You cannot rise if you remain tied to anchors. You cannot climb if you carry chains. Removing toxicity frees you to ascend. At first, this discipline may feel harsh. You may feel guilt for walking away from those who refuse to respect you. But consider this truth: respect cannot grow in poisoned soil. If you do not remove what is harmful, nothing strong will take root. By releasing what diminishes you, you are not only protecting yourself, you are setting a standard. You are showing others that you will not accept less than what you give. You are teaching them that your life has value and that your respect is not to be eroded. People notice. They see that you do not tolerate disrespect, that you do not entertain gossip, that you do not stay in circles where you are belittled. They see that your environment is disciplined, your relationships are intentional, and your character is protected. That example commands respect, not because you forced it, but because you chose to live it. Removing toxicity is not about bitterness. It is not about revenge. It is about clarity, about discipline, about protecting the ground on which respect can grow. It is the recognition that your time is limited, your energy is precious, and your dignity is priceless. To waste any of these on those who seek to harm, diminish, or disrespect you is to abandon your own worth. But to guard them fiercely, to protect them with discipline, is to honor yourself. And when you honor yourself, when you surround yourself with people of integrity, and when you remove those who bring poison, you live in a state where respect is not demanded but natural. You become stronger, clearer, and more focused. You rise above the noise of negativity. You carry yourself with a dignity that others cannot ignore. And in that strength, in that discipline, you show the world that you will not allow disrespect. Not from others, not from yourself, not from anyone. Command respect through action. Words can inspire, but actions define character. Every day, the way you live, the choices you make, the discipline you show, these are the measures by which others decide whether or not to respect you. Respect is never something you can demand with authority alone. You cannot simply ask for it, plead for it, or expect it because of your title, your position, or your age. Respect is earned, brick by brick, through what you do consistently, even when no one is watching. It is born in the small details of how you carry yourself, how you keep your word, and how you perform when challenges press against you. When you rise each morning and choose discipline over comfort, people see it. When you speak truth even when lies would be easier, people notice. When you work with diligence and silence, refusing to cut corners or compromise your standards, your reputation grows without you ever having to announce it. This kind of respect cannot be faked. It cannot be manufactured by clever words or rehearsed gestures. It must be lived, day after day, until your actions speak louder than anything you could say. The strongest leaders are not the loudest in the room, but the most consistent. They are not respected because they ask for it, but because their record speaks for itself. They show up when others quit. They stay calm when others panic. They uphold values when others break them. In moments of difficulty, when pressure is at its peak, they reveal who they are through their decisions. That is where respect is forged, not in the comfort of easy times, but in the storms where character is tested. Commanding respect through action is about living in a way that leaves no room for doubt. It is about proving reliability through repetition, proving courage through action, proving loyalty through sacrifice. If you say you will do something, then you do it, no matter the cost. If you are entrusted with responsibility, you carry it with honor, not for applause but because your integrity demands it. Over time, this creates a foundation so strong that others know where you stand without needing reassurance. There will always be those who talk loudly about what they will achieve, who fill the air with promises but fail to deliver. They may impress for a short while, but their respect fades as quickly as their words. People eventually see through empty claims, but they never forget those who let their actions speak, those who live their values, those who show discipline without needing attention. That is the kind of respect that lasts. Every profession, every environment, every community has people who hold authority but lack respect. They rely on fear, on position, on control. Their influence ends the moment their title is taken away. But then there are others, those whose actions alone have earned trust, whose consistency has built unshakable credibility. Even when they hold no official power, people look to them, because respect has been carved into their character. This is the difference between those who force obedience and those who inspire loyalty. To command respect through action, you must be willing to sacrifice. You must accept that comfort is not your goal. You must carry yourself with discipline when it would be easier to compromise. You must remain honorable even when no one is watching, because in the end, every decision shapes who you are becoming. People are not fooled for long. They eventually see through masks, but they also recognize authenticity when they witness it over time. Authentic respect is born from authenticity of character. This does not mean you must be perfect. No person is flawless. What matters is accountability, the willingness to own mistakes, to correct them, and to rise stronger. People respect honesty in failure more than dishonesty in success. When you stumble, but rise with dignity, you show strength. When you fail but take responsibility, you command trust. When you fall but continue forward with resilience, you earn admiration. These moments, far more than victories, prove who you are. Respect also comes from the way you treat others. Commanding respect through action is not about stepping on people to rise higher. It is about lifting others while holding yourself to the same standard you demand. It is about listening when others speak, valuing their contributions, and showing courtesy even when it is not returned. True strength is not arrogance, it is humility combined with discipline. People remember how you treated them, and in time they mirror it back. Respect grows strongest in the soil of fairness, honesty, and kindness, backed by action. Commanding respect is not a single moment. It is not earned in one victory, one achievement, or one performance. It is built across years, through patterns of discipline, through countless small acts that define your reputation. It comes from showing up early, from keeping promises, from pushing yourself when others stop, from standing firm when others bend. Every small action adds to the weight of your character, and over time that weight commands respect without you ever asking for it. The greatest legacy you leave will not be what you said, but what you did. Not the speeches you gave, but the actions you lived. Long after your words are forgotten, your actions remain. They will be spoken of when you are not in the room, remembered by those who watched you from afar, admired by those who may have never even met you but were impacted by what you stood for. That is the kind of respect that time cannot erase. If you wish to be respected, do not chase it with demands or empty words. Live it. Live it in the way you rise, in the way you work, in the way you treat people, in the way you hold yourself accountable. Live it in your smallest habits and in your greatest sacrifices. Let your actions speak louder than your words, and in time, respect will follow you wherever you go. And when it does, you will no longer need to ask for it. You will no longer need to fight for it. Your very presence, your very record of discipline, will command it. Because respect, real respect, is not given by chance, it is built by action. And when you choose action over excuses, discipline over weakness, and integrity over compromise, you become the kind of person whose life commands respect without ever needing to demand it. Respect is not built in a single day, nor is it destroyed in a single moment. It is the sum of the choices you make, the boundaries you set, the discipline you carry, and the way you treat others when the world is watching, and more importantly, when it is not. If you take anything from this message, let it be this: respect begins with you. It grows when you demand more from yourself than anyone else ever could.
It strengthens when you stand firm in your values, when you respond with discipline instead of emotion, when you lead by example, when you choose your battles with wisdom, when you walk away from those who diminish you, and when your actions speak so clearly that words are no longer needed. The people who do not respect you will come and go. Their voices will rise for a time and fade just as quickly, but the legacy you build through your character, through your actions, through your unwavering discipline, that will last. Do not waste your strength chasing recognition. Do not waste your time begging for validation. Instead, live in a way that commands respect, and you will never need to demand it. So carry yourself with dignity, hold fast to your values, act with consistency, humility, and courage. And when the day comes that others speak your name, let it be with respect, not because you asked for it, but because you earned it. That is the true measure of strength. That is the standard worth living for.